back to my channel. This is Crystal. How are you all doing? I hope you're all doing well and safe. In today's video, I am going to review the Maybelline Fit Me Matte Plus Poreless Foundation, and I got the shade 220 Natural Beige. And I'm also going to review the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer in the shade Sand. I've been using this for a while, so I already have this much left. It's also nice that they have the sachet version of the Fit Me foundation as well. I actually got the sachet first before I got the full size of this, and it's actually nice that you can try samples. But the price varies, of course, depending on the seller. This is actually the only foundation that I'm using right now. Almost every single day. Like, I will still go ahead and grab my other foundations, but on most days, this is the only foundation that I use, together with either the Maybelline Fit Me or my concealer from Daiso, this one. So these three have been my complexion must-haves. So I am just gonna go ahead and get started. This is normal to oily skin, which is perfect because I have really oily skin. For normal to oily skin, mattifies and refines pores, matches natural tone, natural seamless finish. Before I move on to the review, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and click the notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever I post a new video. So let's just go ahead and get started. Okay, so the good thing about this foundation is that it has a pump, and thank God it has a pump. One of my favorite foundations is the Wet n Wild, what's this? Photo Focus foundation, this one. And this one has a spatula. Sometimes I feel like it's really unhygienic to just dip the product back into the bottle and then apply it on your face again and again, and I feel like it's the perfect breeding ground for bacteria. So it's so nice that this one has a pump. I got the shade, what's this again? I got the shade Natural Beige, and this is the perfect shade for me. I have been looking for the perfect foundation for me, and I thought it was the Wet n Wild one. Actually, the Wet n Wild Photo Focus foundation was a little bit light for me. This is what I've been using for a long time, and I thought this was the perfect shade for me. But if I put them side by side, the Maybelline Fit Me is slightly warmer than the Photo Focus one. But oh my gosh, when I first tested this in the sachet, I thought this was the perfect shade for me, because at that time I was having problems with like choosing a foundation for me. Almost all the foundations that I have are too light or too dark. With this one, I don't have to mix any other shade because it's just the perfect shade for me, and it also has warm or yellow undertone. Do you guys see that? That didn't make my skin look too white or too dark. Like, this color was made for me. And by the way, I'm using a sponge to blend this in. It already looks poreless even now, and I didn't apply any moisturizer, I didn't apply any primer. It's just my skin and this foundation. You don't really have to exert a lot of effort when it comes to blending because it's really blendable, and it doesn't really sit on top of your pores, which is great. I don't know what they put in this formula, but I honestly really like everything about this foundation. The formula, the color, the finish. You guys see that? Just the perfect match, and it doesn't make my face look like it's floating from my body. And I know that Maybelline Fit Me has so many shades to choose from, and it's nice that they have one that's perfect for me. If you have a similar skin tone with me, then this is definitely gonna match you perfectly. And guys, actually foundation is one of the most important steps in makeup, because if you choose a wrong foundation for your face, you're gonna have to do other extra steps like bronzing your face if you choose a foundation that's too light. Because if you choose a foundation that's too light, it's going to make your face look ashy, especially if you have darker skin tone and then you apply a foundation that's super light, then it's going to make your skin look ashy. And I am actually very guilty of that, because there's so many times when I bought a foundation that's super light. So of course, just to not waste it, I use it sometimes, and even my mom will notice that my skin looks ashy, and it's really not a nice look. But look how healthy my skin looks with the Maybelline Fit Me foundation in the shade Natural Beige. I always forget the shade name, Natural Beige. It has a glow, but this is not oily. Even if you touch this, it's really not oily at all. And I really like this foundation because it sets. It's not one of those foundations that even after you blend it, it's just going to stay sticky and slippery, and it's just so easy to fade off. This one feels like it's already stable on my skin, like it's not gonna move around just like that. I have tried different matte foundations in the past, and matte foundations have the tendency to stay on top of your pores. It has the tendency to make your wrinkles, your pores, and your fine lines more obvious. This is the only matte foundation that I know that makes your skin look poreless, but at the same time it feels very, very lightweight. That's why I love this so much. Like on my nose, if I'm using a different foundation, you'll definitely see my enlarged pores right there. It still has a little bit of glow, but I still prefer to set this with loose powder. I would say this foundation is a medium to full coverage, so I'm just gonna apply a tiny bit more, and I can still see my veins like right here peeking through. It's not super obvious anymore as compared to without it, so I would say this is a medium to full coverage. So we're gonna see if I add more, if it's going to cover this completely. And honestly guys, like I am not really into super full coverage foundations because I still want like the imperfections to show underneath my skin, just because it looks more natural like that, and no one really ever has 100% perfect skin. Like some people might not have blemishes, but they have dark circles. You know what I mean? Like everyone has skin concerns. If someone has perfect skin, then they are truly blessed. But like most people don't really have perfect skin. If someone really has acne, for me, like they don't really need to cover it completely, because the more you cover it, the more your skin will look very textured. So it's nice to find a foundation that is buildable and lightweight, because if you use a very thick foundation on top of acne, that will just make it look worse. But if you cover your acne with a lightweight buildable foundation, it's going to make your skin look more natural, if you guys know what I mean. Now we're gonna move on to the Fit Me concealer. I've been using this. I think I've had this for almost 2 months, and this is how much I have left. So this one is in the color Sand. It's actually a good color for me also, because this one also has yellow undertone, if you guys can see. So I'm just gonna put this under my eyes, and also gonna be highlighting with this. I work with one area at a time. I don't want to apply this everywhere, under my eyes, on my nose bridge, on my chin, and all at once, because this concealer kind of sets as well. So if you apply everything in one go, it might be hard to blend for the rest of the areas. Okay, so I love this concealer because it's really blendable with a sponge, and for me that's really important, because I love blending my under eye concealer with a sponge. And if I can't blend it with a sponge, definitely not going to be using that, because most of the time I use my sponge. I hate blending my under eye concealer with my finger or with a brush. There's so many concealers that don't blend well with a sponge. See, it's actually perfect for my under eyes, because it definitely brightened my under eyes. It didn't sit on my fine lines under my eyes. It didn't make my under eyes look dry like other concealers do. Other concealers, you will see like the pigment caking up. Even after blending with a sponge, I also like to go over it with my finger just to make sure that it's really locked in place, because your fingers have this texture that really pushes the product into your skin. Definitely covered my bags. Looks like as if I slept for 12 hours straight. Then I'm also going to use this to highlight my face. Alright guys, so I'm back with the finished makeup, and I am going to zoom you in. You can see. As you can see, my skin looks very smooth with this foundation. I don't see any cakiness like anywhere. And usually I start to get cakey, especially on my nose. That is like the most dreaded part of foundation, is when it starts to cake up on my nose. There's zero imperfection about this foundation, and I noticed that it also doesn't really oxidize throughout the day. Like, the lasting power, of course, depends on where you are from. If you are from somewhere where it's more cold, then it has the tendency to stay on longer on your face. I just really, really love this foundation. I hope they never discontinue this, because it's the perfect formula for my skin. It's the perfect color for my skin tone. I love this concealer as well, the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer. This concealer is really amazing. It's not the most full coverage concealer, but everything about this is between like medium to full coverage. So this will pass as a daytime to nighttime concealer. Maybelline just don't sleep on their foundation game. They always come out with really, really good foundations that are fun. Sometimes they come out with a very, very full coverage foundation that lasts long for 24 hours. And sometimes they come out with a foundation that's really good for porous skin, like this one from like the Maybelline Fit Me. It targets people with oily skin and people who have more enlarged pores. So they have foundations for almost every skin concerns, and it's really nice that they have like a variety of choices. But for me, the best products to buy from Maybelline are their foundations. That is it for today. I definitely recommend the Maybelline Fit Me Matte Plus Poreless Foundation and the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer. This is a really good combination, so you guys should check it out. So thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and click the notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever I post a new video, and I'll see you guys again next time.